All right, welcome back to the third day of our admin training session, guys. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, based on your time zone. So today we are going to talk about data modeling and what are different type of tabs, how to create our own tabs inside the Salesforce. So before we just jump into our session, so for whatever we have seen, either what Salesforce, the Salesforce ecosystem, and whatever we have seen about the clouds, standard objects, standard object navigations, anything. Do you guys have any questions on that from anyone? All right. So we can consider the silence as yes or no. Okay. So I hope everyone is doing the same hands-on the task whatever we are giving to you. It's not something we will be validating you guys. So make sure you will be doing hands-on so that you will be up to speed by end of our session. You could able to catch up as soon as possible. All right. So what is the data modeling? So whenever we are doing an application and whenever we are starting some business, it is something that however we will be achieving our goals, however we will be solving the problems, the complete from the start of this business to the how we will be approaching to the how we will be approaching to the customers, how we were know delivering our products to the customers, everything, right? So every key aspect, every small minor things as well, everything will be counted, and those every information we will be storing in the Salesforce or even in the any of the database, right? Because end of the day we will be dealing with the data. If customer is coming up, okay, we will be creating our own uh, customer record. If customer is accepting this product or customer is going to buy the product, we will be creating products and customer records, something like that. So every business will definitely deal with the data. Without data there's nothing where we can really achieve the customer problems, or we can really do some application or achieve some problems. So every business, every application, every system will deals with the data for sure, right? So the data, how the data is coming up? So the data is either a customer's data or the data that we provide to the customer, anything, right? So from the customer or to the customer, any data that we are presenting and that we are using to solve the problem, that has to be organized. So let's say we are having in our local machine terminology, or general terminology, if at all we are creating some folders in our computer, we used to have a proper namings, and we used to organize our files and folders for each and every specific folder, right, with respect to the your functionality or with respect to your goals. So everything whatever we are itself dealing in our local machine, we are also organizing our data based on my need, right? So the same way we also have to organize the data in the Salesforce as well, not only in the Salesforce, in in general in the any of the application. So how we will be organizing the data is not something, we are not completely diving to the data modeling concept. How we have a data modeling in a Salesforce, that's what we are going to see in today's session, guys. Okay. So data modeling is nothing but how you will be maintaining your data, how you will be using the respective objects, how you will be using your respective fields, how you will be creating the relationships. So relationships are nothing but parent and child, maybe if you're not from non-IT background. So every minor thing we have to be careful while we are designing the data modeling, because our data is data is the key for any application. We have to properly maintain our data. All right. So just a quick recap of our last session. We've seen about the standard objects, right? So we'll go with from there itself. What are the standard objects we've seen in our last session, and then we'll see how we will be creating our custom objects today, guys. Okay. So in last session, we created some application, right? Sales rep. So let me open that. So this is the one of the account I viewed in last session. That's why it is showing as recently viewed. If you would like to see all the data, this is something we will be calling as list view, as we already discussed in the last session. So if I click on this, I can see all my accounts. So let's say I want to open this. So this particular this accounts is, we will be calling it as a tab, that we already discussed in the last session. So inside this, we've seen a few records and few screens in the last session. We'll just see a couple more here. Okay, yeah. This top header, this is indicates our object name, and the bottom and the underneath that, this is the name of the record. So this is the standard name field. We will also see the how we have the fields, and then under this section we have something right here, this particular title, this card. So this is kind of a highlights panel. That's what we will be calling in a Salesforce. So the top header will have some highlights. What are the key fields? So I want to present to my customer on first look itself. So those will be configured here. As I said, everything is configured, and there is nothing I did here. This is by default. Everything comes by inbuilt when I create an org. Okay. And this right hand side section, we have something called new contact, new case. So these buttons, whatever I am seeing here, these actions, we will be calling it as quick actions in the Salesforce. So all these actions will indicate, so the name like quick actions, right, where we don't want to go and do multiple navigations. I can create some child records, or you can also add your own commonly frequently used uh, some say actions in this here. So this is the quick actions. We will see in further sessions how we will be creating a quick actions. So these are the some standard quick actions will be available here. All right. So these are the tabs, the child tabs. These are the page header tabs. These are the tabs underneath that. And so detail section, we will be having the complete information of how my particular record, whatever I'm viewing. These fields also can be configured. These fields order can also be changed, and you can also edit from here itself. Let's say I want to change this type. So if I click on edit, I could able to make some changes here, and I click on save it. So then this related is, these all tabs also can be configured. This related, mostly what we will be having in the related is child records. So account, what are the child items account is handling with, or what are the child records under that particular account. So will be, mostly we will be adding to the screens, so that it is easy that whenever I'm visiting a customer is visiting an account record, don't want to go out of the account page, can directly view the with respect to records from the particular account page itself. So these are the contacts and opportunities. These are the two main child records mostly will be using in the sales cloud. And so these are the some child records. It's not something, we can also add multiple child records, child list here in the screen. So let's create one account record. So account is nothing but a company or a person whom you are going to deal with. It's not something you will be creating account only for business. So only for particular industries. Few scenarios where we will be creating account record whenever you are dealing directly with the person. Okay, so let's consider I'm dealing with one company. Okay, so this account owner, just few fields, as long as we are in the same screen. Account owner is whoever creating the record will be the owner. So based on this owner, there are few some different topics we will be having. For now, just remember we have something called ownership. Who will be owning this record? That gives you the information of account ownership, owner field. And some our known fields like a phone number. Maybe I'll provide you some random phone number. Then, so these are the fields we are going to see in today's session. I'm just showing how a new account creation we used to create. So that's, I just populated one field. So this star will indicate us the required field. We can also configure the required field while creation of the fields that we'll see in today's session. Yeah, that's all. I have only one required field. I'm creating it. So if you want to populate everything, so we can also populate the billing street, shipping street. So all these are the Salesforce standard fields. We did not create any of the field yet. Okay, save. So one account record is created. So if you look at the related list, we don't have any child records underneath that. So if you want to link any child records to this, so contacts are nothing but the direct our point, where we are going to deal with the point of contact, right? So we will be creating a contact record from here itself. So this is the name field. I can choose Tim David, and so I have some other additional information as well. So if I would like to populate, you will be populating all the contact information in a single shot. Like this is some kind of flexible to the user where don't need to go and create a contact and link to the particular account. From this related list, we can also create from parent itself. So opportunities are nothing but the deals, whatever the records, what are the deals we are going to deal with this particular account. So let's say I have, maybe we can call it as, not, I'm not getting particular deal name, but I'm just having a deal one. So I have a deal one. So whenever you're dealing with the whenever we are dealing with the deals, so we will be having like maybe mostly with the financial terms, right? So we can, if you would like to have an amount, so this is my amount I'm going to deal with this particular account. So when I'm going to, when this deal should be going to close. So these are the some basic information based on the business need. So this stage indicates where this deal is in. So whether it is just started, it is just finished. So we have every field can be, you can select your based on your deal, and these options can also be changed. It's not something standard options, but you can also change your wordings. Okay, I'm creating a new opportunity. So this is how we will be creating some records in the Salesforce. So this is one of the standard object of Salesforce despite of any cloud. Okay. So account record, we've seen contacts and opportunities. These are the few standard objects. So today we'll create some custom objects where what I want to deal with is we have some requirement where we are working with Stanford University. Then we've been asked to do some data modeling and everything to support the Stanford University. Okay, so their business case is they will be having let's imagine Stanford University having multiple branches across the globe. So we want to support and we want to build an application to support to the Stanford University, where they will be having childs, students, and different fee structures, different courses, right? So every education, every graduation will have its their own courses. So now they want to automate completely, and they are moving to the Salesforce. So we want to support. We are going to build a solution to the Stanford University. Okay. So for some reasons we couldn't able to use our account object, standard account object, where we are having a multiple scenarios. So that's why we decided to use a custom object. Okay. So for the first and foremost thing we will be doing with is the object, right? So I want to create an object to to store the university name. So where I'm going to extend my application to support in future for the Stanford University or Harvard University, any university. So I want to build an application that can be reused for any other universities as well. Okay. So we will be creating some objects. Let me show you how to create an object here. So as I said, as a developer or an admin, we will be mostly viewing the screen is the setup. So click on gear icon, the setup. It will navigate us to the setup screen. Now, as we know, all the objects will reside under this object manager. You can create an object from click on object manager, and here we have something called create. So what I'm going to create is a object name as institute. So where they will be choosing the respective institute, and they will be, you know, creating their own record. Let's say Stanford University have in Texas, in India, or somewhere in the Australia. So I want to manage the Stanford University locations in multiple places. For that I'm going to create an object called Stanford University. Under that we'll create some fields. Okay. To create an object, in the right hand side we have something called create, right? If you click on this gives me two options. One, I can create an object directly, or I can also prepare some Excel sheet and I can also choose that Excel sheet to create an object. So for now we will be dealing with directly create how to create an object. Okay, I just click on new custom object, and okay, here we go. So object, so anything in the Salesforce, whatever we are dealing with, will contain label and API name or developer name. Label is something what we are viewing in the UI. API name or object name, this will be something we will be accessing that whenever we are doing some configurations or development. So if I want to access this object anywhere in my configuration, we have to refer API name or developer name or this kind of name field. Okay. So label is something, let's say if I click on here, this where I'm showing accounts contacts, right? So this will contains the this will show the label. So as we discussed, we are going to create an object called institute. institute. So if you see, the API name is automatically populated. So I think the typo. Okay. So if I want to again change, I just remove the API name, that will again auto populate for me. Plural label. Plural label is something whenever we're looking at the tabs. So this is something not for one particular record we are going to create, right? So what Salesforce will do is whenever we are having some these kind of tabs or referring on objects, the Salesforce will refer the plural label because it's not something it's going to hold only one record. So have a plural label with as a common plural label. So I'm going to have it as institutes. So just populate a label and plural label. Then API name is automatically populated. So here something called starts with vowel sound. So this checkbox will help whenever we are viewing some records and based on the language as well. Let's say we are dealing with some French or something. So any other phonetics has certain, like how we will be having an a versus an, right? The vowel, whenever we are having whenever we are pronouncing vowel word, we used to have an. The same way, whenever Salesforce referring some objects and rendering in some UI with respect to the language, they will be adding a or an in English and the respective words in Salesforce in other languages. So we can choose this, or you can also ignore this. It doesn't impact it. It is just to refer. In some places Salesforce used to have a or an. So that's the purpose of this. Then description, always have a best practice to populate description for any of the configuration you are creating. So main three fields everything will have is label, API name, description. Description is not a required field, but have a best practice to populate description always. So this object will contain all the institute information. Okay, so this you can keep as it is, whatever we have here. So this is something standard Salesforce help document. If you would like to provide some any help, you can also choose here. That is something when it comes to the development, we will be discussing about this, what is Visual Force page. For now, maybe you can consider Visual Force page some custom UI rendering application tool. So this is Salesforce standard help documentation, can leave as it is, whatever it's populated. So I have chosen label, API name is populated, plural label I have selected. Then record name. So however we discussed about the ownership, right? The record owner, who is owning the record. The same way, we also have some other standard field called name field. So name is a standard field for any object. Any Every object will contain a name field. So this name indicates how you are going to store this record into the Salesforce. So the representation of this name field, it no need to be unique, but a name field should be a required field where Salesforce will be creating records based on this name field. Okay. And let's say, hey, I don't want to populate name field always. Let's say I'm creating some automation tools and my application is creating records where I couldn't able to populate my name field. Like, let's say I'm creating a new account. So here I'm choosing my account name. So this is a standard Salesforce name field. So I have some application and integration is talking directly to the Salesforce, where I couldn't able to populate name field. So I'm creating some records through some customizations, some automation tools. Then we can also choose another option as we have something called data type here, right? So this data type text will give you an input field where you need to populate a name field. Instead, I don't want to choose customer, I don't want to allow my customer to populate name. You can also select something called auto number. So what this auto number do is, whenever we'll create a record in the Salesforce will increment the number while we are creating the records. So this is pretty much simple, like in SQL. If someone if anyone familiar with SQL, we have something called I'm not sure, I think the I forgot the keyword, but we have something with increment, right? The same way it will be automatically incremented for each and every record. Okay. So if I want to create auto, so Salesforce will create a number for each and every time. So you can also have choose how my auto number look like. So this is the some example format. So whenever a record is created, so first record will have everything with the 000. Let me zoom in some bit. Yeah. So first record will contain starts with 000. You can choose the format. Let's say I want to have my institute with I, say something, I want to have 5 zeros. So you will be choosing something like this. Okay. Then where this number should start with. Someone will should like would like to start with a one, someone would like to start with zero, someone would like to start with 1,000. So any number where you want to start with, you will be choosing that. So based on that, the first record will be created with let's say I have chosen a starting number as 1,000. First record will be created with the number with 1,000. So then it will be incremented with one with from 1,000. So that's how the auto number field works. We don't need to populate anything. Salesforce will be creating name field for us. Okay. So for now, I'm just choosing the text field where I'm going to allow my customer to my customer to choose the institute name. So this name field is the standard field. Whenever an object is created, then it will have a name field. The data type I have chosen as text. So there were some optional features we have. So we'll just not dive deeply, but I'll just give you a heads up what all these. Allow reports are something whenever you are dealing with the data. We can't sit and directly see each and every record, right? Let's say I have a here I have around 15 records, right? Here I have around 15 or 14 records. So it is easy that I can see, go ahead and go and see each and every account record here. But when I'm dealing with, or my R contains millions of records, at that time, if I want to filter my records with some particular, you know, fee type or some other record type or some other pick type, let's say I have something called type here, right? Yeah. So I want to filter my account with the type, or I want to show some kind of report based on this type. How many customer direct, how many customer channel, how many accounts with the prospect, something like this. So we will be viewing end of the day, mostly if you want to evaluate your data based on your quarterly or monthly, we will be using standard Salesforce functionality reports. We'll also seeing that in the next sessions. So that's what this report. So if you select this allow reports checkbox, this will allows us, whenever you are creating a report, we can create a report based on this object called institute. If you not check this checkbox, we couldn't able to create a report on top of this object. Okay. Then allow activities are nothing but the task, event, email. So these activities we will be calling it as an activities in Salesforce. So should I allow my customer to create a task under this record? So that's define this allow activities. Okay, you can also, you don't need to be checked at the initial creation itself. You can also change after later on your object creation. this track field history. One second, guys. So let's say I want to track my field, whoever changed the value. Let's say I created some account record. So let me take one account. So if I take some opportunity here, I have an amount, right? So I have an amount. I have created an opportunity with $35,000. So this is the deal I'm dealing with. Okay. So if someone, only I am the not the one who is working on this account record. I have a team of people where on my absence or on my without my my knowledge, they might have changed this deal to 30,000, or they might have increased this deal to 40,000. So I want to know who is going to who changed the field from which value to which value every time whenever this field is gets updated. That's what we will be calling as field history. Okay, so this allows us to track certain fields, like kind of fields like amount, currency, or number fields, to track what's been changed when, by who, which user. So that gives us the option to track the fields. If you check this checkbox, you will allow we will be allowing our object to track some fields. The fields we can be chosen after we create fields. So but this is an option. If you not select this, it will not be available to choose the fields. So we will be will letting the Salesforce, hey, these are the fields I'm going to uh, track. These are the objects I'm going to track in my Salesforce. Okay, so this is what that gives us. Chatter groups are something, however, we have like we used to see in social media, right? We used to have some posts and everything, right? Comments and everything. We do have the same section in the Salesforce as well. That's what we will be calling as chatter. That chatter will allows us to come use this record to post something on this particular record, and allow comments, so some feeds, everything. So this is the chatter. With this option we allow the our object to create some charter records on this on top of this object. Okay, so you don't need to remember all these, at least just the what functionality it is. We can also always change back and forth after we create an object. Excuse me, guys. Okay, then these are the some, like some APIs. Whenever we are dealing with some integration, we will be choosing this checkbox options. So by default you can leave as it is, whatever with required information populated, if you're like, until unless you get familiar. So label, API name, or and plural label, three are required. And record name, it will be auto populated. If you want to change the name of the field, you can also change here. So I'll be changing this to institute name. I think it's all institute name. Okay, then this deployment status is something, when you create an object, if you want to use the object, then it has to be status should be in deployed. Let's say I will be creating an object, but I will not going to use this object for a couple of months. So I don't want to allow my anyone to use this object. We can choose this in development option. So that's up to our decision whenever we're creating an object. So you can leave as it is if you would like to create directly. And there's some more options here. Search status. So this search status will gives you. So previously we've seen in the first session of our day one, we discussed about this global search, right? So whatever I'm seeing here, so this is the account record I visited. This is the user which I created. So this information. So whatever I'm searching, let's say I created this opportunity, edge emergency operator. If I search here, this will be show up. So we can also allow our customer, whenever they are searching here, whether the object should be rendered here or not. So I don't want my customer to select to choose any of the opportunities from here. Okay, let's say you're not allowing your customers, or you're not allowing specific user to not to select opportunities, and you're not giving an access to opportunity. Then we will unchecking this checkbox allow search, so that if you check the checkbox only, this will be, if I type here anything, that will be searched across my object. Or else, if I do not check this checkbox, if I searching here, that will not be filtered on my created object. Okay, that's the use of this checkbox. So allow search is it's a global search. Okay, and this add notes and related list, this is something like one of the child record of under each and every object will have. So notes and attachments, these are the Salesforce standard objects again, where we will be allowing our application, our object, to create some attachments under the chain, whenever I create a object. So let's say if I see here in my related list, yeah, if you see here in this left hand side, there is something called notes and attachments. This will gives me, this is the standard object, standard relationship again. So where I can upload my notes and I can upload my documents under this particular account. So this is the just an option, whether each object will contain notes, which object it will contain attachments object. This is a standard relationship will be automatically established. So this option enables us whether should I add this particular child record in the screen or not. Okay, if I did not check this checkbox, whenever I'm creating a record, I don't see this option until I added manually. So this is just a small configuration which will enable, gives us customer don't want to do any additional configuration. Okay, so new custom tab is something. So I'm creating an object called institute, right? Whenever I'm creating an object, now I want to create some data. So if I want to create data, I need some tabs here. So let's say I have an accounts and contacts. So through these navigations only I could able to create some account records or contact records. The same way, I should be able to create a tab to allow my customers to create some data. So it's not something we will be creating tabs for each and every object. Some objects where we will be using only for tracking purpose. Let's say some integration is happening, so I want to create some records in the Salesforce, but no user should able to see that. Then we will not create a tab for it. Okay, so some kind of information where it's unrelated to the customer, unrelated to the user. Okay, so I'm choosing this checkbox because I want to allow my customer to create institute record. Okay, so that's what I have chosen. Only required fields, if you're not familiar with this, until you get familiar, you can populate required fields and create an object. Click on save. So my object is created. Now I'm in the screen to select tab for the object. You can also create an object directly without tab. So we'll also see how we will be creating without the checkbox. So this is the object I have created now, institute. So you can select the let's say if I see here in the for account, we have some this icons, right? That indicates directly what type of this record. These are the standard icons of the Salesforce. So this is some icon identification of account, and this icon is contact, and this is opportunity. So these are the some standard icons. So you can also change your own tab style. Let's say hey, I don't want to use any of this. You can also choose your own custom icon here. So let's say we are dealing with institute. Maybe let me see if there is something familiar to the education. Mm, something called books. I have something called books. I'll be selecting this. So you can we can select with respect to the our object needs. Okay, I have just chosen the books here, and this is description again. This is the same account tab to create institute records. Click on next. So it has certain options. So first we've chosen which object and what tab style it is, how it look like. Okay, then profiles. If you could recall, in the last session we discussed something called profile. Profile is something every user will be having a profile, which is kind of a what type of actions this particular user can do. So those everything can be limited or restricted at the profile level. Okay, so let's say I have a three different type of categories: CEO, managers, and something called sales representatives. So I'll be creating three different profiles for CEO, managers, and sales representative. Then I'll be create while creating a user, we could able to choose the profile. Okay. Then I'll be creating all my sales representative users under the sales representative profile. So that if I want to restrict something for all my sales representative, sales reps, so I'll be changing at the profile level, where I don't want to go for each and every user and change that, change my configurations. I'll be changing at the profile level. That will be applicable for all the users. Okay, so these are this all the standard profiles that are available inbuilt in the Salesforce. So for now I'll be choosing this tab. So what this option is: apply only tab visibility to all profiles or specific profile. So you can also choose only to the specific profiles by click on this. So this profile I don't want to have this tab, so you can choose default off. So this profile I would like to uh, have this on, so you can leave as this default on. So if you don't want to have, you don't want to select specific, you can select just by default on for every profile. You can also customize. Let's say I don't want to have any profile as off, so you can choose the default off. Click on this, and let's say I want to allow this tab to be visible only for the system administrator. So this is the user will have highest privileges. So if I want to choose only to the default on, so this tab will only be visible to the system administrator profile. So that's the option to choose the which profile should this tab should be visible. Click on next. Then we discussed in the last session around some applications, right? All the application. So should I allow? So whenever I'm seeing here in the sales rep, we've seen in the last session how to customize this, right? There is something called the icon here, where user could able to customize that. So this option allows us, if they click on the pencil icon, they can also choose the tabs from the left hand side and choose to the right hand side, right? Same way, whether should I allow my customer to add this tab to the application. Okay, if I don't choose this checkbox include tab, then this option no one could able to see this application until we allowed it. So let's say I'm not allowing this to the sales service cloud, but I'll only allow to the sales representative. This is the one which we created in the last session, and I will add to the some standard service. Yeah, so I'll add to the service, not to the sales. Okay, so how this will impact, we'll see that. So now I'm adding to the only two applications out of I have something around 10 or 15. I just added to the two applications. Click on save. So that's how we will be creating an object in the Salesforce. So this is the object record is created. So you can always edit the options from here, from edit. So these are the certain another actions we are going to deal with on top of the object. We will be seeing all these in upcoming sessions. So if you want to create some fields, we'll be choosing here. Okay, so let's have, we just create an object. After we break, we'll create some type of fields, and we'll create some records in that particular object, guys. So let's have a quick 10 minutes break, and we'll discuss back. So before we just go for a break, any questions from anyone? Okay, I don't hear anyone. Okay, all right. So we're seeing how we will be creating an object in the Salesforce. So this object, whatever we created, is called as custom object. So we can also identify by looking at API name, either it's a custom object or standard object, as this underscore underscore C. This is the naming convention of Salesforce. Every custom object will end with underscore underscore C. This is automatically concatenated by Salesforce, where we couldn't able to change anything on this. After the underscore underscore C, we could able to change this institute, but this underscore underscore C will be automatically appended, where standard object will not contain any of this underscore underscore C. That's the identification while we're looking at the API name, either it's a standard object or custom object. Okay, same like fields will also have underscore underscore C if it is a custom field. Okay, so first let me see, let me refresh this because we added a tab here, right? So see, the institutes automatically came up. So because I added to the my this application, if I go back to the my service or whichever the one which we did not check, let me check the sales console. Sales, so I will not be having any institutes here, as well as from here too. So if we click on add, I think we did check for sales or service. So I think we checked for sales, I'm not sure. So this is how we will be allowing the customer to see here or not. Okay, this screen will not contain until we add it to the applications while creating an object. Okay, then so if I create some record here, go to my sales rep, institutes. So I don't have any accounts. If I even change back to my list view, it has nothing. So if I try to create a new record, it has only one field called name, because name is the Salesforce standard field and a required field for any of the object. Either it's a custom or standard, name is required. Okay, few fields will be excluded from the name field. We will be having some other fields. Uh, we will see those lists going forward. Okay, so now I want to create some fields to my object where I want to allow my customer to choose the certain information. Okay, okay. So let's create some fields on this custom object. So click on the details. So we have each and every has some different sections. Each and every section has its own functionality, its own behavior to do. So click on if I want to create my field, I'll be click on fields and relationships. So whatever the fields we are looking here, this created by institute name, last modified by owner. These fields we will be calling it as standard field. If you look at the API name, there's nothing, we have something called underscore underscore C. So these fields we will be calling it as standard fields. Every object will contain this created by. So these four fields, along with this, there was some couple of other more fields as well. But for every object, these fields will be definitely available. It's a despite of standard or custom. Just quickly see what it is. Created by is something who created this record. Okay, because end of the day it will contain the user relationship. So this is what this data type we will be calling as a relationship, a lookup. We'll see that while creating it. So who created this will hold that. And there were also a couple of fields, created date, last modified date as well. I think those were not listing out here, and those are not listing out here. But along with the created by, last modified by is something. Okay, I created a record, someone can also change the record in my team. So the last, whoever changes the last, this will hold the last modified by. There were also a couple of fields like created date, last modified date, at what time the record is created, at what time the record is modified recently, and the owner, who owns this record. So this is the owner. So it is no need to be like, created by should be the owner, so it can be anyone. Okay. And the name field, so we already talked about this. So these are the some of the Salesforce standard fields will be available for any of the object. So this will allows us to track how the object is created, who is the change, so when it was changed, lastly changed, all these fields. Okay. So let me create, let's create a new field here. So to create a new field here, we have something called new. Click on that. Okay. So these are the data types that Salesforce allows us to create fields. We'll go one by one. So data type, what type of it is, either it's a number field or a boolean field. So we used to have separate data types, right? So each and every data whatever we are maintaining should have a separate data type, right? So that's why we will be categorizing our data based on this data type. So this auto number is something we discussed already, but we can create an auto number field. We'll ignore this first section and second section for now. We'll go to the last section, where which is familiar to everyone. So we'll see whatever we have here, and we'll create some of them. Okay. So this is the third section. I just scroll down below to just to have our discuss about our familiar fields. Checkbox. So checkbox is something which will hold a boolean data type. So if I want to create some is active or inactive checkbox, inactive, some kind of identifier. Okay, we will be creating a option field called checkbox. So this allows us to only choose either true or false. Okay. Then currency. Currency is nothing but very familiar with our own term. So currency, to hold what type of currency field, let's say we will be having, let's say if we look at the number field of some opportunity. If you look at here, the amount, it's a currency field. If you see here, it has some decimal places, it has some comma after 3 digits, so everything. So this is how the currency will be converted automatically, and the respective currency symbol also appended. So if you want to create some currency dealing with some amounts or revenue, we will be creating currency field. So that will gives us the formatting and currency code concatenation everything. So date, it's a simple straightforward date field, where if you want to select some date, we will be creating a field with a date. Date time, hey, I want to capture my time as well. Let's say created whenever this is creating, right? So I want to capture date, time along with the date as well. So we will be creating a date time field. Then email, I want to capture my customer email information. So we'll be creating email. So what this will allows us is, each and every data type, it has its own behavior. So let's say we have something called text, right? We can also store text email in the text field, isn't it? So because email, end of the day, text will can also contain email field. But what is the purpose of this creating email field is, we have some email valid format, right? It has to be something with some character and at the rate symbol, and then it should finish with a dot, something like the format, right? Those formats we don't need to take care if you create an email field. If you create a text field, you will be having some unorganized or unformatted data. If you create field with respect to the respective data type, that will have a clean data. Okay, so that's what we will be choosing, the respective data type. Then we have something called geolocation. Geolocation allows us to choose a latitude and longitude. So this is the new field Salesforce recently introduced, the geolocation. And number, so as I said, same like the text, right? Where email can also be stored in the text, currency can also be stored in the number field. But that number should not contain all the what do you call formatting, the three comma after three numbers, decimal places, everything. So number will not format that. Then percentage, so percentage will have its own percentage. Like if you want to create some percentage, we will be choosing a percentage field. We can also do the same in the number, or number in the percentage. So please choose the field with respect to the type, however how we are going to store information in the particular field. So that's where it will be clean data. We don't need to take care of any of the validations or any of the restrictions. Then phone field, phone will, you can also create a number, sorry, phone into the number field. But that will not contain country code, that will not have some like if you look at here, this phone has some, this option, right, the link. So this format, and if I click on this, this will enables me, if I have any application installed already, this will enables me to call from that application itself. If I create only number, that will not happen. Okay. Then pick list is something like a check list of options, where we will be selecting. Multi select is where we could able to choose more than one option. Then text, so text will be a text field, will only contain maximum of 255 character, where you can also store special characters, numbers, anything into the text field. Text field will be look like in a single what we can call single, without any paragraph. So if I want to create some paragraph thing with only 255 character, we will be creating something called text area. Text and text area will have field limit of, character limit of 255, where difference is text area will contain number of lines. So it will render like a paragraph, multiple lines. Text will be rendered in a single line. Text area long, where if you would like to create hey, I'm going to store around 1 lakh characters, we will be creating a text area long. If you would like to store some rich content. Let's say I want to store some bold information, I have some italic formats, something like that. I have some images. So every rich content will be stored into the rich text. This will also support only 1,31,000 characters. As a CRM, we will be having some restrictions on each and every operation, where we couldn't able to create, hey, I want to create a text field with 1,000 character, we will, Salesforce will not allow us. Salesforce CRM will definitely have some restrictions, otherwise any CRM application couldn't able to scale. Okay, so these are the some restrictions. Each and every field will have its own character limit. Okay, and text encrypted, let's say you are storing some other information, let's consider. So I want to, encrypt my data. I want to show only last four digits. We'll be creating encrypted field. Time, I want to store only time, I don't want to store any of the date along with that. If I want to store date and time, I'll be choosing date or time. I want to store only time, not any of the date, I'll be choosing time. URL, if you are holding some any of the website, let's say if I see here, I have some website, right? So this also has some format. If I click on this, it will automatically navigate to the next tab. So we can also store the website in the text field, but that will not have this feature. This if I click on this, it will automatically redirect, right? That will not have in the text field. So these are the some basic available data types, I would say available data types of Salesforce, which are familiar with for everyone. So there was some couple of fields we will be discussing in our next session. So for now, let's create a couple of fields here. So let's say I want to create some um what is this called, entrance exam. Okay, so I want to create what type of entrance exam is it going to have. I'll be creating a pick list, because where user could be choosing only one entrance, either some kind of a NEET or some kind of a JEE, something like that, right? So I want to create some pick list here. I'll click on pick list, click on next. So as I said, every configuration will have label and API name. So I'll be choosing what is this called, entrance exam. Okay, so this is the some option we will talk about this. Global value set, what this will indicates is, let's say you are dealing with some country state. Okay, so whenever we are dealing with some state and country, some kind of a globe pick list. So I want to allow my customer to choose my state and country in more than one object. Okay, so let's say I have a five objects, five custom objects, where five custom objects should capture state and country. Okay, because institute, let's consider institute and student. Student also need to select their own city. Institute also should select where this location exists. For that, I'll be defining all my state and countries at single place, because I have so many countries I'm going to support. So I don't want to choose the same countries and states each and every time. For that, I'll be creating some pick list global value set. I'll show you how to create that. If, hey, I don't want to use that any of the pick lists, I just create here itself the options. So then we'll be choosing second option. First option, to choose from the existing pick list options. Second option, I don't want to choose any pick list option, I will be choosing here itself. Okay, then we'll be choosing this option and you will be entering your values here. Let's say I'm entering some kind of NEET JEE JEE mains. What else we have, some kind of MSET. I'm not sure whether this makes sense to that particular university what we are creating, but yeah, some kind of this entrance exam I just choose in here. Then, so there are a couple of options here: display values alphabetically in the order, or, so whenever I'm choosing the pick list option, should this option should be visible. If I select here type, so this type of this pick list option should be visible in the alphabetical order or the order I entered. So you can choose that based on this checkbox and use first value as default. Let's say customer did not choose anything here. Okay, so I want to auto populate this value by default. So if I look at this, the prospect will be auto populated, right? Same way I want to auto populate this option. So you can select this checkbox so that by default first option will be auto selected. Description, this will hold type of entrance exam. Help text, let's say if you would like to give some help information. Let me try to see here, there's nothing, but let's create here itself. Please choose valid exam type this institute is going to support. Allow students. Okay, I just added something here. Then required, if you want to make this field should be required, so customer should definitely populate this value, you will be checking this record required. Okay, and this report type, we can ignore this for now. This is required whenever we are dealing with the reports. Okay, then default value, if you would like to have some default value, let's say hey, I want to choose mset as the default value, we will be populating here. Okay, so for now I don't want to choose any default value. Click on next. So this is the some basic information, and I'm click on next. So then now, so for which users this field should be available, so this field will be automatically one second, sorry, I think let me bring my charger, one second guys, sorry. Okay, yeah, thank you. So what are the profiles, this field should be accessible, we will be choosing we will be choosing that. So by default all the standard fields will have an access, standard profiles. So you can also uncheck this from the profile level. Then click on next. So layout, this is something we'll be calling it as whatever we are viewing in this screen, right? This UI, that UI we will be calling in the Salesforce as layout. Okay, so this field automatically adds to the layout. Save. So the field is created, entrance exam. So let's try to create some record with that particular object. I did not refresh it. So always remember guys, whenever we did some configurations, refresh the value, then only refresh the screens. Sometimes you need to do more than one refresh, because Salesforce will maintain cache. So the cache will hold some previous states. So we have to refresh more than once whenever we are dealing with some configurations. All right. So this is the institute name, the name field, and this is the pick list I created. So it has also required the star indicates required. And I told you the help text, right? The use of help text is, let's say someone don't have an idea about what this field is going to. So this will give you an option, whatever we are providing in the help text. If you have a help text, that will be visible here. So customer could able to choose which option they would like to it will give you the more information to the customer. Okay, so I can choose my pick list option here and I'll create records. So before we close for the day, I'll just create one global value set and I'll show you how we will be creating that. So this is the one pick list I created. So I want to create some country pick list. For that, click on setup again, or you can choose here home, type pick list. So that will be under the objects and fields section. You can scroll down or you can type directly here, type pick list, and that will have pick list, something called pick list value set. So these are the whatever we will creating here that can be available throughout our application. So throughout our org, sorry. So click on create new. So I'm going to create some country pick list options. Okay, create as country and the values. So you can provide your own country options here. Maybe I would say India, USA, Australia, and what else we have? Maybe Canada, Russia. So you can also choose your own pick list options here. You will be providing same like however we had the same display values in alphabetical order and the first value is default value. So this is some kind of a global configuration we are defining for the pick list. Okay, so if I click on save, I can use this pick list value set whenever I'm creating a new field. Okay, let me show you how we can do that. So go to the object manager and our object is institute. Type here if you couldn't able to scroll. Click on this, click on fields and relationships. So now I want to create a new field which is country. Sorry, pick list, here we go. So click on next. So here I'm choosing my country, same option. It doesn't matter because it's the pick list option here. If you see this use global value set, now I will have a country. Previously, if you not create anything, it will not be available. Okay, if I click on country, all the country pick list options, whatever I have created in previous screen, will be available in this. So I don't want to choose anything. We couldn't able to add or remove from here. If at all you don't want to have one country, you have to change in the global value set only. If at all you want to remove that, the change if you are choosing with the global value set, because it has to be done in the global value set only. Okay, so these options also be disabled because as long as it is not having its global value set, these options should be configured in the global value set. That's it. I'll click on next. So one difference here is previously we made that field as required. That's why any of the profile couldn't able to choose here, but here I can able to choose this field as who should access this. So it's when it's a required field, you are making a required field, it will be definitely visible for everyone. So if I don't want to visible this field for any user, I'll uncheck this checkbox and I'll only allow this to the administrator, which is only system admin can able to see this field in the screen. Any of the other user who are having this profile couldn't able to see it. Click on next. So click on save. So just quickly refresh the screen. Country. Yeah, don't bother if it is not appearing here. I told you there is something called page layout, right? So you can go back and add this field to the page layout. If you click on page layout, by default there is one page layout will be created for each and every object. So we can click on that. If you click on here, it is already added the country. I think it needs just a refresh. Let me refresh it once again. So if you see here, this country is already available, is already added into the my page layout. If you want to don't want to have this, we can remove from here. We'll go over this page layout deeper in the next sessions. Let me refresh more times. So not reflecting, yeah. It will whenever we do maybe more than a couple of times. So that's how we will be creating our pick list options. So these are the some fields we've seen today to how are we creating the fields. So we will be having some assignment on this field creation. If you would like to spend some time do that assignment, how to create for each and every data type, or else we'll see we will also see those remaining fields, how we will be creating different data types and different fields in next session. Before we're closing for the day, any questions, guys, from anyone?
No, Ashwant, I'm good.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that's all for today's session, guys. If we have nothing to discuss, so we'll send you the assignment in our WhatsApp group. Just do some hands-on on it. Do some uh, get some hands-on it and play around it. So make sure you will be checking the check boxes and everything. See what will happen if I check this checkbox and what will not happen. Something play around it. You will be easily get accessible. So the object model is something we'll be daily dealing with this. So make sure you will get proper hands on it, guys. All right, that's what from my end too.